A major review into water companies in England and Wales has described the sector as broken. Companies have faced intense criticism after big bosses and shareholders continued to be paid out despite infrastructure crumbling and the amount of sewage spills skyrocketing. Yesterday, Environment Secretary Steve Reed ruled out nationalisation, saying it was too expensive.
Nationalisation would cost upwards of £100 billion that we'd have to take away from the National Health Service and schools. If we tried to unpick the current model of ownership, it would take years. And during that period, pollution would get worse because the companies wouldn't invest knowing that they were going to be nationalised.
But as bills are set to rise by 30% in the next 5 years, is it time to bring the water companies back into public ownership? Every year, the European Environment Agency releases information about the quality of each country's bathing water sites. And over the last 6 years, there's been a clear pattern. Countries with the cleanest rivers and seas have publicly owned water companies. They include Scotland, Ireland, Netherlands, Denmark and Cyprus. Mike, water's something we can't live without.
No.
We can't choose our water provider.
No.
If this isn't a case for nationalisation, what is?
Well, the problem with nationalisation is, largely speaking, in this country, it's never worked, right? But water is very different. When they were nationalised in 1989, they had no debt. The water companies in this country had no debt. They've now got £60 billion worth of debt. And a lot of that has gone to paying dividends to the investors in the water companies. It's not renationalisation we need, it's regulation, proper regulation. America has only one company which you could call a nationalised company, and that's Amtrak, OK? The rail company in America. But it's not fully nationalised, it's regulated. It's there to make a profit, but it's got huge regulatory bodies that look after it in each state and at national level. Now, that's what we've got to do. And Nigel...
Why does nationalisation work in Scotland?
Well, I don't know. I'll leave that to Scotland because I live in England.
It's the crown jewel of their public utilities.
You're often very quick to claim Scotland so that you can be the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can't just say you're English and you don't care about it.
No, but we're dealing with the problem in England. That's what I'm saying.
We're dealing with the problem in England, exactly. And so we should look to where they are solving it, and they've solved it there.
But we can't go back to that.
I understand the financial restrictions. I understand all this disastrous thing, but the basic principle of should our water be in the hands of private equity, private people who don't care at all about the business they're in, but are just interested in gouging money out of something that falls from the skies and goes into our soil and we use it. And that the basic principle, I take this back to Margaret Thatcher, you mentioned 1989, who idiotically, because that's what she believed, handed this, this pass and parcel over to private investors who to make money out of it, putting profits before people, and this has been a complete disaster.
I agree.
But you can't compare Amtrak. This has nothing to do with railways, for heaven's sake. I understand the principle of running a business and being regulated.
No, it's a national need regulated by the government because it's vital to the country. That's what I'm saying. But Ofwat is useless. Ofwat has...
Hang on. The basic principle of parcelling up things that we already own for other people to make money out of is wrong. And that's why nationalisation should be...
It wouldn't work.
But the genie's out of the bottle, Nina, and putting it back in is going to cost us about £90 billion.
Exactly. Where are we going to get that from?
We are constantly looking at areas where we can't afford to do what we already do.
I understand that if they go bankrupt, then we can just take them over, and then you don't have to pay money out to the shareholders. But it is obscene the amount of money that has gone out of and the debt is 85 billion and it's...
So why not do it that way rather than nationalise the whole industry? Let's look at Thames Water, which is in crippling financial difficulty at the moment. You're saying just wait for that to go under, then we take it and it's ours back where it belongs.
But nationalise it. But do that in some way.
Then you'd still have to compensate the investors.
It's like the railways. It's like the railways. You know, if we can somehow take back what we have idiotically given away to greedy people, it's just greedy people and mates, you know, Tory mates, snouts in troughs. It's absolutely
But at least there was
obscene.
competition in railways. There was competition in railways. There's no competition in water. 70% of the profits from the water companies go to overseas investors.
Where's the competition in railways?
Well, because you can have some cities to city where there are two different lines
Well,
you
that's
can choose from.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
but
there's an element of...
That's
for
irrelevant.
most
Yeah.
people that use
Yeah.
railways, they have one line.
And also, remember, the competition was also in to win the franchise, whereas with Thames, it was just made private and people just invested in it. I mean, it's a hopeless
Margaret
mess. But
Thatcher,
but
all those years
but that's
ago-
too long ago. It's gone.
No,
It's
no,
gone,
no,
Nina.
no.
We want to fix it now, not
the cold, dead
1989.
hand of Margaret Thatcher has reached out.
Well, I'm
and
sorry,
is
she did a
still,
lot of good as well.
Oh, never mind a lot of good. What she did was an absolute... It has been disastrous for this country.
Ofwat are the disaster, complete
No,
disaster.
You can't just blame it on Ofwat.
Of course you can. They didn't do it
Ofwat are
properly.
incompetent and obviously
exactly.
and toothless. But
Why
the
would any
basic-
other regulator be any better, Mike? That's what I don't understand.
Because they'd be
We take
properly
them all-
regulated by the government.
So we need a
Ofwat-
regulator for the regulator.
Regulator.
You do. Ofwat is a quango, right? We've got too many quangos in this country which run divisions
And
of
who-
our
and who
society, and
appoints
they're
them?
useless.
Who appoints them? The government.
It's the Old Boys Act. It's the Old Boys Act. Oh, here's a failed politician. I tell you what, he's lost his seat. Put him onto Ofwat. It's disastrous.
Well,
You've got to run it
so what
Let's
you're
professionally.
replace
saying-
them with a politician who's democratically elected and hold them accountable.
that's what we should
because, well, that's what
what we should do.
nationalisation would give us.
No, that's what we wouldn't. We should have a regulator who answers to the government and to the people who get the water, not to shareholders.
Who does the government answer to? So you say a regulator to check the regulator.
They've already got three regulators.
It needs to be nationalised. It needs. I understand that the Labour government say we can't afford it, but the basic principle, it needs to be nationalised.
Where would you get the 100 million from?
Let's
100
take,
billion from?
Let's take
Yeah.
some calls.
Yeah.
Jamie's in Somerset. Jamie, would you renationalise the water industry?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think I would, because it just feels like, I understand other countries have done it, but, you know, at the end of the day, if they nationalise it or bring it back, well, for example, if they bring it back into the public sector, how do we know? Right, is it going to be the councils that are going to own and run it? Is it going to be charities, etc.? And it just feels like we're just following suit with other countries about talking about nationalising it, just to almost fit in with the other countries, in my opinion.
Jamie, the way it works is that you have water corporations that are either municipal, that means run by local authorities, or it's run centrally by a government that's elected by us and can be unelected by us, can be voted out by us if the Minister for Water isn't doing their job.
Yeah, true, but yeah, it's. I just, you know, I don't know. It's a difficult one. It's a great idea and all that, but I just don't. I don't think it will work, in my opinion.
OK, I mean, the point Jamie makes is a good one in that our municipalities, by which I mean the towns and cities, the boroughs and districts, you look at how cash-strapped they are already. Are you going to trust them to run the water industry as well?
You have to trust somebody. It doesn't necessarily have to be the municipal. It has to come from a centralised position where the basic ethos is to provide clean water for everyone, to clean water that's not.
So that's a business model, isn't it?
Hideously expensive. Where our rivers and our lakes and our streams and our seas are not polluted. You know, it's disgusting how much pollution. I mean, people can't sort of. But also the other things. You would then stop the business of when last week when businesses were told that when the water companies were told that they couldn't give out dividends anymore, couldn't pay bonuses. The guy's salary was doubled.
To about 1.6 million. I mean, it's the business model that's got to be changed.
Well, no, hold on. It's not a business model. It's a public health issue, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because this is what we feed our children.
It is public
our
health.
children drink this water. We bathe them in it.
The reason I'm saying the business model's got to be changed is because shareholders are getting billions of pounds in dividends for doing nothing. They don't separate sewage from rainwater, right? So you've got to immediately say no more dividends and change the model.
But it's beyond dividends. And the thing is, you're making the argument for the other side, really, all that you're saying.
No, I'm making the argument for regulation.
let's take another call.
Nationalisation never works.
Caroline's in Devon. Would you love to see water taken out of the hands of these companies and put back into our hands, Caroline?
Yes, I would. I come under South West Water because I'm in Devon, and sometimes I run my water to have a glass of water, and I look at it and I think, I'm not drinking that because it's misty. It's like, you just think, oh, I'm not touching that, and yet all the bosses and that getting huge pay rises and they're not doing their job.
And that's what we're faced with, Mike. What Caroline's talking about is confidence.
Yeah.
She is not confident that the water coming out of her taps at the moment is fit to drink. Whether it is or not, she doesn't know.
Yeah, but
because of what she reads and what we hear
But
about.
how can we guarantee that if it went back to full nationalisation, it would get any better? Because most things that governments run don't work. They're not very good at it. The private sector is good at it, but the rules under which they ran water were hopelessly loose and allowed them to get away with it.
The private sector is good at taking money out of natural resources and putting it in their own pockets. That's what. But the thing is,
that was the regulators' fault.
That is their basic principle. They are not in the business to give us clean water or to give us water that's drinkable and cheap. They are there to make money. That's the basic. That's what's wrong with it.
Would we just be trading that, like, venal approach, if you like, to giving us clean water? Were we trading that for inefficiency?
Doesn't have to be inefficient. Why should it?
Because most things that are nationalised are.
But the thing is, it's not inefficient in Scotland. It's not inefficient in
Scotland's got so much water. That's why it works up there. Seriously, they're very lucky.
They're not just lucky. We have been seriously badly done by. We have been this country has been raped and pillaged. That there hasn't been a single reservoir built since 1992.
I totally agree. It's outrageous.
So there are hosepipe bans now. But, you know, I mean,
I agree, but it's on the solution that I differ with you. I mean, what they've really done is what the owners of Manchester United did. They bought the club and then mortgaged the value of the business, right? Literally, and then lived off the dividends, which is exactly what's happened to water companies.
OK, let's just talk about infrastructure. If we're looking to build a reservoir, and we know that the water company, the water provision is in the hands of the council, let's say, or government, it's going to be so much easier to get planning for that because the need is so clear and they can act quickly if it's in the hands of the government.
But no applications have been made to build a reservoir for over 30 years, for 32 years. Don't we know there's a national need? When water runs off the roof of my apartment, right, it runs into a water butt. Now, if you did that on a massive, massive scale, we would have very, very cheap water, but nobody's invested in that sort of thing.
But the water companies are not interested in that. They don't.
But they should have been regulated to do it.
OK, we
you
have
can't
to
regulate against corporate greed on that level.
OK, we have to move on this.